It's changeover. Gotta go Collins after at the outside. Rocket Range trying to gun them down. Changeover the inside. Gotta go Collins starting to try and get on terms. And Rocket Rain is flying. But the champ is digging changeover. And changeover. A Jules winner. Changeover brilliant at the finish. Maybe Rocket Rain in front of it.
Outstanding changeover, of course, went on to win a New Zealand Cup, and the local lad David Butcher dominating in the end. That was what we thought was the best ever 4-year-old Emerald. We have an Australian raider, not only on the racetrack Saturday, but here with us today. Sky Racing's Gareth Hall. A very good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Greg. Good evening to everyone watching. Yeah, really looking forward to the duels on Saturday. It'll be my second duels. Unfortunately for the Aussies, we went back a couple of months ago. We thought we'd be winning our first duels when we had that super mare engaged in the 4-year-old girls. Unfortunately, she went and missed. But my Kiwi mate, our only representative, he's not out of it. Hopefully he gets a nice run for Tony Hurley and can bring home the Aussies home a duel finally. We've been waiting a long time.
Thinking about Australia, and before we get on to that, our Waikiki Beach, you're not sure whether he's ours or yours or a bit of both?
I can't. Well, you were claiming to get a gig in the duels, and in hindsight, it probably would have been good if he did get invited now. But he's been dominating back home. He's won 19 straight now. I think he'll get to Courage Under Fire's 24 straight. This is him winning at Penrith the other day. It was a walk in the park. They only sprinted up the lane there. But then he'll win the Breeders' Challenge, so he'll win the semi-final, the final, and then he probably goes to that Breeders' Crown. Maybe a run in between. I think the Breeders' Crown is going to be his toughest challenge because you've got a horse by the name of Shadow Sax and Don't Hold Back, and there's a few real nice horses. But I think Shadow Sax that he hasn't really competed against since last year's Breeders' Crown. If he draws inside of Waikiki Beach, he'll have to fight for it.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's get into the Emerald, though, for the 4-year-olds, and this one with NRM. Here's the market for it. 170 Field Marshal comes up with the plum 1 barrier draw, but statistics around the duels at Cambridge don't suggest that is the best spot. My Kiwi mate, 7s into $6, and Titan Banner, who's been so good, $2.70 out to $2.80. More about the market and how to play into that shortly. Let's have a look at how we think things might unfold speed-wise. Craig Thompson. It's a huge advantage for Field Marshal, who already has very good gate speed. The one horse I wanted to ask you about, Franco Texas, he might be a little bit of a changing factor here for some.
Well, Field Marshal's quick. He's not excitingly quick, but he is quick, and the one draw should put him in front early on. Gate speed, hug the win, Franco Texas. Agree with you on Franco Texas. He can get a little bit rank in his gate, though, when he tries to accelerate very quickly. And he's got two pretty quick ones inside him. So Field Marshal's a horse we've got to highlight. We'll go about have a look at the Taylor Mile here, where he came from a horrible draw. That's him in the harness jewels, colours out widest on the track, and this was a defining moment because this brought him into favouritism for the harness jewels.
All right, so this is him down the outside, Michael. The run down the back straight, a couple of hundred metres from sort of the 800 to the 600 was exceptional because he was 4 wide.
But when you look at this performance and then the other performance in the Messenger, it's really hard to make a case for him to be beaten unless Titan Banner has improved enormously. Now, there was a scare in the camp 2 weeks ago. He had a bout of colic on a Tuesday. Was he over that? We'll go to the workout from Cambridge. It would suggest he was. Showed very high gate speed in this workout. Now, it's not an overly strong bunch. There's better spirits in the trail. Race rival, Chase the Dreamers last. But here's the last 100 metres for Andrew Neal and the Sulky. Andrew has actually driven the horse to win a race. Looks very smooth in his gait, very quick off the gate. And for a horse with his length of stride, fellas, Cambridge's home straight is going to seem awfully short. The only way I can see him beat is if A, he underperforms compared with the Taylor Mile and the Messenger, or B, he is savaged by first Hug the Wind, then My Kiwi Mate, and then Titan Banner. This horse will pace 52 round Cambridge in a heartbeat. It's pretty hard to put pressure on a horse going that quick. So here is Titan Banner, fellas. Everybody in harness racing impressed by this. He's outstayed Chris and me, Grego. Is he good enough to outstay Field Marshal with the disadvantages of covering so much more ground.
Well, whether he can get to park Gareth Hall is
Yeah.
going to be the biggest thing. Here he is beating Chris and me. Well, there's no better example of his ability than exactly that in the Winter Cup.
And he didn't get any breaks that day either, Titan Banner. So that was an enormous run. And in Australia, we stood up and took notice of that horse. Obviously, trained by the All-Star team, but we've been watching Chris and me closely because he's coming to Australia for that Len Smith Mile and also that Brisbane Winter Carnival. Titan Banner's a serious horse. Watching that performance, I'm with Mick. I'm with the pole horse, Field Marshal, just because of the draw and time say that he's going to be hard to beat if he turns up at his best. And my Kiwi mate, I'm not ruling him out because if they do go quick and they do cut at each other, my Kiwi mate can be a horse who's a really talented sit sprint. I think he's got tough in this preparation. A couple of his runs back home as a 3-year-old, especially in Queensland, were out of this world when he smashed the clock. He's a really good horse, and Craig Demler's done a good job with him. And, well, he won't disgrace himself on Saturday.
All right, so my Kiwi mate rated 55.6 on Friday night, Craig, and he did it nicely.
Yeah, he did. It was a 156 mile. I like my Kiwi mate when he's rolling. I don't think you can hold him up at any stage in a race. He's better on the speed outside the leader, and if he gets that spot outside the Breeze horse, he's going to be very hard to beat.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how we should play this, Michael. How would you play the 8th on the program?
Look, I hate to tip an odds honour, but what you're comparing is 3 horses. For me, the big 3 are the Group 1 horses in the race. My Kiwi mate, Titan Banner and Hug the Wind, all in the running line against Field Marshal, not in the running line, and therefore covering 4 lengths less. Logically, Field Marshal should win. I want $2. I'm probably going to get $1.70, but he is the horse to back straight on the nose.
All right, for you?
Well, I think the benchmark of the open class ranks this season in the South Island has been Lockburn and Chris and me. Both of these horses have beaten those horses, Field Marshal and Titan Banner. For me, I found it hard to split them. I think Titan Banner's the big improver. Field Marshal's had a bit of a concern. That's why I've gone to Quinella.
Okay, and Gareth, you're thinking Field Marshal?
Yeah, I'm with Field Marshal. When you see a lot of big-time racing, barrier draws win your races, and I think Field Marshal gets barrier number 1, Dexter Dunn in the gig. Titan Banner could be something else. He might just produce a performance. We just shake our head and walk away from Cambridge thinking, wow.
Yeah, I think the thing against him probably is his great rivals are drawn to his inside, so therefore he's going to have to be a couple of lengths better than them. 3-year-old Emerald. Well, throughout the program we've been showing you what we thought has been the best in the previous 9 editions of the Harness Duels. And Smolder, well, he's was amazing this day at Cambridge. It was late in the day. It had already been an enormously successful day, but have a look at what he did to what was an exceptional field, doing more work than any other.
Lexi Luck coming home now, fly like an eagle, but Smolder, Mark Purdon, he's going to blow them off Cambridge, and Smolder down to the line. What a wonderful win in the 3-year-old Emerald. Lexi Luck.
Yeah, still one of the greatest performances in Duels history and arguably the best. Will we get to see that come the last race again on Saturday afternoon? The Sweet Lou at Woodlands 3-year-old Emerald. Let's have a look at the market for it. And again, barrier draws play a big part here because the favourites in 5, Heaven Rocks, he has an army of fans, but a few that would rather him bring his A game because at times he doesn't. Classy Brigade, 7 now out to 750. Chase the Dream, the big question mark horse, of course. Natalie Rasmussen to take the reins once again. Winner of the Sires at 2 and second on Cup Day, of course, behind the mighty Lazarus. Let's have a look at the speed map for the 9th on Jules Day. And Craig Thompson, you're expecting plenty from about the middle of the line.
Well, I think Chase the Dream, Classy Brigade all get off the gate, as does Kenrick the Inside, who trialled well on the weekend. Heaven Rocks, I think barrier draws make no difference with this horse. He's got no gate speed. Better have him out wide than drawn the inside because he'll get crossed early on. So I think he'll roll forward, but mid-stages.
All right, can you see him sitting park, Michael Guerin, and being able to win this race? Because it appears we haven't quite got to the bottom of him yet.
And let's be honest, the 2 best 3-year-olds in Australasia aren't here, so he would have no chance sitting parked outside Lazarus at Waikiki Beach. But these are the horses who've been scrapping all season. Chase the Dream's the only established Group 1 horse here, as in a Group 1 winner. And the trial the other day, or the workout, was just adequate. He was poor in Victoria. Mark Purdon, I put it to him yesterday, where's this horse at? He said, I'm not sure. Let's go back to the workout. This is him last. Now, Mark doesn't move on him, but he doesn't make any ground either. I said, were you holding on to him? He said, look, he was just doing his best anyway. But we've seen a lot recently that the Purdon Rasmussen horses can improve a lot in that last week. Mark is in the north. He'll be looking after the horse. He said, I'll know more once I've worked him Thursday morning. So that's when he'll know whether the horse is ready to win. We'll talk to Mark live on Saturday morning, you will, Greg, and we'll pass that information on to you. Because of that, fellas, I'll be honest, I can't bet on this market right now. It's a bad market to play into with those doubts and the doubts over Heaven Rocks in my head, because that's what he should be called. He has got rocks in his head. This is a tricky market to play into. I'm waiting until Saturday.
All right, what about for you, Gareth? You've seen a bit of these guys, including recently Chase the Dream.
Yeah, I'm being impressed by the favourite. I think he's got a ton of ability, but as Mick pointed out, he can do a lot of things wrong. Chase the Dream, I thought he was only fair in WA. I don't think he was at his best. I had a chat to Chris Lewis after the race, and he probably thought he just didn't have that explosive speed that he probably did have first up. And then he was dreadful. He was disappointing at Kilmore. He sat behind the speed. I know he burned out the gate. So I don't know if a long season is taking his toll, but they're trained by the All-Star team, so you can't completely rule him out. I've got time for Kendrick. I like that horse. He gets a nice draw around Cambridge. Buster Brady's a horse I want to ask you about, because I remember when I was over in WA, a couple of big buyers offered the Buster Brady camp a lot of money for this horse. And where is he at now? I know he's got a terrible draw.
He was very good in the sophomore last week, but he's got the worst draw, Craig.
He's got the horrible draw. He's probably in that third tier of our 3-year-olds, Gareth.
Yep.
But that draw's probably put him at a 20-1 shot this week.
All right, let's have a look at Heaven Rocks, and what he can do is exactly this, Craig. He's pretty much bottomless. Look at him launch into it here. It was in the last race on the second Premier Day at Addington. He beat Mr. Mojito, who I know you've got a bit of time for, and he's subsequently been a winner.
Well, that's right. As I said to you, Greg, I think he's a rolling type. It wouldn't be surprised me if they tried to do what they did with Smolder when we saw that video earlier on when he won at Jules, and just look to roll the whole way. Whether he's outside the leader 3 wide, just keep pressing on, because I don't think he'll stop. Mentally, it's his fragility that worries me, because we've seen him gallop a couple of times. I think his career-defining moment was when he beat Classy Brigade, because he was very good there. He got headed by, at that stage, one of our best 3-year-olds, fought back to win. Suggested to me that he could win a Jules.
Yeah, and that was, of course, in the Supremacy. Michael, how are we going to play it then?
Well, as I said, I'm waiting till Saturday. I think there's no value in this market early doors. Look, I think Heaven Rocks probably wins, because I think if he does things right, and again, the All-Stars on the big days tend to do things right, I can't find anything to tip against him. If I knew Kendrick was going to hold up, I'll be really keen on Shandale, but then you're starting to hope and pray, fellas. Heaven Rocks on top for me, Craig.
For me, I'm a little bit like you. I really haven't got in depth into this betting market, because I think there's a lot of queries to happen. I think Chase the Dream, if he gets across them and finds the front. I mean, Lazarus has been the benchmark and he's chased them all season. If Lazarus in this field, he'd be $1.20. Chase the Dream, if he finds the front, he'd be the horse to beat. And he's at a price you could back him at $3 at the moment. I wouldn't be taking $1.90 about a horse that's still got a few fragilities.
All right, and you are each way with him.
Yep, I'm with Heaven's Rocks. I think it's going to be hard to beat. It's a fascinating race, because a lot of these horses have been up for a long time, raced against the very best. You don't know if Lazarus has broke their hearts. So
Just
I'm
on
looking
that,
forward to it.
we're both Heaven Rocks to win, by the way. We realise $1.95.
Well, I didn't know what to say, because this is my
so,
first go on the box seat, really. I didn't want to muck up and say, well, you got the graphic wrong.
He's a win bet only if you are backing him. Of course, you can't back him each way. It's a very small component. But look, I think it's a race where there will be one of the place getters. Could be a Ruffy, a Shandale, a
Kendrick each way?
Motown's got a chance, even Walkinshaw. So maybe the value in the race isn't trying to back the winner, it's trying to back something for the place.
All right, we know the All-Stars have had an incredible run through the Jewels, winning no less than 26 of them. How many will they win on Saturday? Here's the option for you, Michael. Option 731. The favoured way is 4.
Look, I think 3. I think there's a couple where they will just get it. The 3-year-old fillies pace, they'll get. The 2-year-old boys, I'm pretty sure with any luck, either more the better or Pacey Major will win. The last on the card, they have a huge hand, but it's not a totally dominant hand. And of course, they've got plenty of other horses during the day who can win. I thought 3 was a better chance there than 4, because 4 is depending on luck. They're not going to win the 2 big trots, Marcoola and Mombay, so they're gone. So all of a sudden you're 4 out of 7 races, and they haven't got a horse in the first, so you're 4 out of 6. So you're not betting into 9 races, you're betting into 6 races.
Good analogy. What are you thinking there,
I
Craig?
was thinking 3.
Yeah.
I totally concur with what Michael's saying. I think there is question marks about a couple of them, but I agree with him. I think he'll get the 2-year-old. He'll definitely get the fillies race, and there's a couple of queries about a couple of others.
Yeah, maybe the 2-year-old Trotty's got a chance, but it's a 50-50.
Custodian, yeah, it is a 50-50. I think I'd be playing that mark. I'd be playing 3.
I tell you what, I wouldn't play 0. I wouldn't play 0.
Yeah, wouldn't be playing.
0
They
doesn't
had a
appeal to me.
market there, wonder. Was it
had a
Breeders' Crown? No, Breeders' Crown. It might have been into Dominion Day.
Yeah.
He didn't have a winner. It was about 100 to 1.
A couple of years ago into Dominion Day, they
Yeah,
had
it
horses
was,
in
yeah.
5 races and didn't
I remember,
train a winner.
Gareth, I turned up work with you,
Yeah.
tipped all the Kiwis, they never won a race.
Yeah, I
It was
remember
good fun.
that.
So,
You
so
were-
it's your fault.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that day. Thanks very much. I don't think I've been back since.
Well, you know how I feel now.
Hey, Gareth, great to have you
Yep,
here.
thanks for having
I know
me,
you
boys.
enjoy the build-up to Saturday and the day itself.
Just a question about Saturday. It's going into Sky One,
Yep.
your main channel. Can you explain to people how big a deal is that? Because we keep hearing it's a huge deal. So it's going to be
it's
sandwiched between
enormous.
Sydney and Brisbane.
It's enormous for Australasian harness racing because to get on that prime time Sky Racing one, which is the money channel over in Australia, where you've got all the metropolitan race meetings, harness racing, or Australian harness racing tracks would die to have a slot in that Saturday, early Saturday afternoon. So for Australasian harness racing and the Jules to get 7 of those races on Sky Racing 1 is enormous. So well done to Harness Racing New Zealand working with Tabcorp and Sky Racing. So
worked out
be
good.
no excuses if we can't build the pools on Saturday.
All right,
Sounds
thank
good
you
to
to
us.
you,
Yep.
Michael and Craig. We'll look forward to the preview, of course. You've got under the lights, you've got heaps of things going
Yeah, a
on
lot
in
to
the next
happen in
few
the next
days.
48 hours, boys. We're looking forward to Saturday.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll see
most
you.
importantly, guys, looking forward to those interviews with the trainers. The last gasp on Monday. A lot can change, as we've seen recently in harness racing, between Wednesday and between Saturday. That's why we've got such a huge team heading to Cambridge on Saturday.
All right, we'll wrap the Harness Jewels in a 90-minute special next Wednesday, but as we've shown you throughout the night, our favourite Harness Jewels in each age category and each gate we've had a look at. What about looking at it through the eyes of those who have the best seat in the house?
Look, I think they're all pretty special. It's not an easy race to win, and to be honest, I think every individual win of the Jewels is solely deserved. And you know, it's a race that it is hard to win when you've got 12 of the best horses in that age group in one place. So I think every winner deserves all the accolades they get.
I reckon going back to the earlier years when Tony Lee was commentating and they used to give it a great buzz, and I think watching Venus Serena win her last title was unbelievable to watch from the outside of the second line. There's been a lot of great wins, but maybe changeover again at Cambridge. That was outstanding to a great crop of 4-year-olds that year, and what he did was really well.
Probably Venus Serena's win. I thought it was an outstanding win on the day. Did all the work, was out wide the whole time, and yeah, it was a faultless performance.
When you think back, Jules, I think 2 years ago at Cambridge, Venus Serena is sort of the first thought that always comes to my head.
Venus Serena's trying very hard on the outside. Ideal Bell, Venus Serena in a sterling battle, and Venus Serena.
Probably adore me when she won. We had to run second to her that day on Splendour, and it was an amazing run by her. She had to get round them, and she just was all class.
At 3, she's a princess, but this girl is already a harness racing queen, and Adore Me won it.
Everybody will remember Smoulder's win as a 3-year-old at Cambridge. It was just a Herculean effort, and so that probably stands out. Fred Fletcher's little 2-year-old trotter, I think he trotted 156 around Cambridge, Royal Aspirations. I think he probably could have been competitive in the Hambletonian that year as a 2-year-old, because I don't think they might have gone 153 around the Meadowlands, which is a lot quicker track than what Cambridge in a mile track. So yeah, that just showed, I think, we were competitive in most places in the world with what we were producing.
Monbay, Sunny Ruby, it's Royal Aspiration for Fred Fletcher, all over again. Sunny Ruby and Gavin Smith.
It'd have to be Terra to Loves. As a 4-year-old, I think, at Ashburton. As a 5-year-old, sorry, at Ashburton. It was pretty impressive.
Terra to Love, 100 metres left to go, he's streaking away. Franco Ledger is flying home, but Terra to Love's going to win it. Franco Ledger, enormous second.
Obviously, you know, Smolder at Cambridge, it was a big effort that year. But, you know, there's obviously a lot of horses and there's a lot of champions that race on Jules Day. You can name any number of races that springs to mind. But, you know, obviously Smolder at one that's always going to be in my memory.
Impressive Jules win, I think, was Smolder at Cambridge. When he sat outside Ideal Scott. It was a massive performance. Unfortunately, I was 3 wide outside in the trip. Talk about the 600 when I stopped, but there has been a lot of great performances. Personally, for me, probably Chris Mees was my best.
Probably easier for me at Cambridge because I've been there every time. But like Smolder winning at Cambridge, the crowd got really excited when Mark let him loose and that.
I think if you had a single one out, probably Smolder's effort at Cambridge, you know, when he set up that fantastic mile and he done it the hard way, and, you know, Mark got aggressive with him, and, you know, for him to sit outside the other runner and you know, it was a truly run race, to still win the race was fantastic, and I think that's a run that everyone will remember.
Probably Smolder's when he won the you know, the 3-year-old one at Cambridge, when Mark just let him down and they just ran. That's what racing is, like, go hard, go fast, go hard, go home, you know, and he was good enough to do it. So that was one that I really, really enjoyed. And obviously, with the family side of it, watching David win races and Zach and even myself. it was nice, you know, but probably the quick races, I enjoy them when they're really running.
Probably Smolder at Cambridge is another one that stands out, and it's just a good mile. If they go hard, the best horse wins, and if they get an easy quarter, you know, an average one can win, so normally the best horse wins if they go hard.
3-year-olds at Dispatch, Rebo Restaurant, Sky City 3-year-old Emerald to go, and Ideal Scott, Smolder, and on the inside Let's Elope, the first 3 away, getting the run through from the second line. Fly Like an Eagle has 2, Best Deal yet out wider on the track, Texican. Bronze Seeker caught wide to the first corner, Besoted's gone back to find a spot, Smo to its inside. The New South Wales Scandalman, he's back 3rd, last for Jimmy Douglas, then Better's Fire and Better's Creek, the last 2 into the straight. And Ideal Scott, 28 and 1 the opening quarter, being pestered by Smolder on the outside, and these 2, they'll lock horns. He doesn't want to hand up the lead, McFarlane. Smolder, he had a go, but they've opened up by 3. Let's Elope. There followed Best.
How does it make you feel too, knowing that your peers rate that race as the absolute ultimate harness, Jules, and a true mile test?
Yeah, oh well, it is great acknowledgement to the horse and what he did that day.
Over Ideal Scott, there followed back on the inside, Let's Elope. Moving forward is Best Deal yet, Smo's in the 1-1. Texican out wider, Fly Like an Eagle. He's all dressed up, nowhere to go the inside. Scandalman's off and running 3 and 4 wide now. They're followed then by Better's Fire, Better Creek, Besotted, and Bronze Seeker. 27 and 7 the 3rd quarter, Smolder for home.
It still puts a tingle up my spine too, and it was just a great run, and I think it just kept the day off. I think it was the last race of the day, but I think everyone went home talking about Smolder that day.
But Smolder, Mark Purdon, he's got